Hey guys, I did my movie review on the movie Fireproof, which is a Christian drama based film, and it is directed by Nick Zano. The main characters are Aaron Bethea, also known as Catherine in the movie, and then Kirk Cameron, which also played in Growing Pains, which is known as Caleb in the movie. Um, all of the people that were in the movie were volunteer actors and actresses. None of them got paid. Actually, the big fat white guy, who was the firefighter, actually went to a church in Bartlett, where I am from, and actually went the one time for a youth camp and got to meet him and talk to him about it. And he said it was probably the best thing that he's ever done, was playing in that movie, and he said it was a great experience. But I'm gonna talk more about the movie. Caleb was a hardworking firefighter who fought fires, obviously, and saved lives. And he had to come home to a struggling marriage, which was very, very stressful on him. Catherine was a nurse who she was above other nurses, and she did different interviews and stuff for the news as well. Both their parents, Caleb's parents, were very, very Christian-like people. Their faith was very strong. They tried to encourage Caleb to have faith and to believe in God, and he just wasn't really all for it, and it wasn't really his thing. And Catherine's parents were kind of quiet during the movie. Her mom was sick and ill, and she couldn't talk, and her dad was forced to take care of her. And they needed a new bed and wheelchair, and they couldn't have it because they didn't have enough money for it. The insurance wouldn't cover it. So, as we see, the no faith in marriage, none of Caleb or Catherine have faith in their marriage. So we don't see God working in their marriage. So they take their wedding bands off, throw them in the drawer. None of them want to really have anything to do with each other. They're constantly fighting, arguing. So Caleb is trying to save up for a boat that he's always wanted, and Catherine's constantly nagging him about it. He's also addicted to pornography. She does not like that at all. She constantly nags him about it, which any woman should. He constantly gets frustrated at her for talking about it and yelling at her, and he even puts his arm up against the wall and blocks her in, and she's constantly crying, and the marriage is just plain failing. So as we see this marriage failing, Catherine begins a new relationship with a new doctor at the hospital that she works at. She goes to lunch with him, flirts with him. All of her coworkers know it and see it. So, as the fighting continues, Caleb's bound to give up. He doesn't want to try. He just wants to give his marriage up and just throw it all away. So he calls his dad, and he has a long talk with him, and his dad wants to meet up with him the next day. So as they meet up the next day, again, his dad is a very Christian man and is trying to influence his faith in him, and Caleb's not all for it at all. He doesn't want anything to have to do with it. He's just constantly saying what's wrong with Catherine and why Catherine's at fault, and he doesn't see that he's the fault too. So Caleb's dad says that he's going to send him something in the mail. It's a 40-day plan called the Love Dare, and this plan is eventually going to rebuild their marriage and make them stronger, and eventually is going to be at the end of the movie. So as we see the Love Dare come into the movie, it is come to the movie by Caleb finding it in the mail. He's running and jogging and working out, and he opens the mailbox and sees it in the mail. He takes it, and he reads it. He doesn't really want to do it. His dad just told him to do it for him. If he does anything, just do it for him. And so as he does the Love Dare, he makes coffee for Catherine. He buys her pitiful flowers, and he even sets up a wonderful date with candles at their home, and she constantly rejects every single one of them. She doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So he calls his dad again and says, "Dad, I can't do it. I'm done. I can't do anything about it. She doesn't want to try. I don't want to try. We're done." And his dad says, "Son, just do it. You got to do it. Just stick with it." So both of Caleb and Catherine's coworkers are constantly giving him advice. Catherine's coworkers are saying, if he's doing this, don't stay with him, leave him. He's fixing to divorce you. And Caleb's coworkers are constantly saying, try and rebuild your marriage. You tell us that we can't go in a fire without our partner. You can't even rebuild your marriage with your partner. So then we see that Catherine she's starting to trust him a little bit, but she's not really so sure about it. Until we see that the money that is invested into the boat that Caleb wanted, he surprisingly pays for the bed and wheelchair, which the insurance wouldn't cover for Catherine's parents. And all along, she thinks that it's the doctor who pays it, and eventually he's the one who only pays $300, and Caleb ended up paying about $30,000. So throughout the movie, they're starting to rebuild trust, and they're starting to rebuild their marriage. And eventually, Catherine surprises him at the firehouse, which surprised me too. I didn't think she was gonna get back with him at all. And so she surprises him. They reunite. They redo their vows the next day. And so the 40-day plan got started by Caleb's dad was he didn't want to have a relationship with Caleb's mom. She wasn't a Christian woman. She was constantly trying to do the same thing that Caleb was trying to do, and all the time that Caleb thinks that it was the opposite. Caleb's mother was actually the one who did the love dare on Caleb's father. Caleb's father was the one who wanted to leave the marriage, and all along the movie he was trying to nag his mom and say, "Mom, stop trying to do this. It's not my fault. It's Catherine's fault." And Caleb's mom was just trying to help him because she knew what to do, and she knew that he needed to do it. Really, it's just amazing to see such a crazy marriage and relationship spiral and start to go downhill, and then as God is put into the relationship, it's so awesome to see how it can be flipped upside down. And that's really the main point that I took from the movie, was to see a relationship that wasn't built on God turn into one that was, and it turned out awesome. And so here's the trailer I'm fixing to show you guys, and here it is.